Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shaheed Divas. Coming up in the next hour. Israel army tells Gazans to evacuate part of southern city of Rafah, launches ground operations. Istanbul court rules against formally arresting opposition mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu in a terror probe while maintaining his detention over a graft investigation. Ukrainian and Russian officials set to hold talks with US officials amid renewed drone attacks from both sides causing casualties. And India's GDP doubled in a decade, set to surpass Japan and Germany soon. Israel has intensified ground operations in Gaza, urging Palestinians in Rafah's Talla Sultan district to evacuate as strikes continue. Israeli military spokesman Avichai Adrai announced the operation on X, stating that forces are targeting terrorist organizations in Rafah. Drones have dropped leaflets warning to civilians to leave the combat zone and move north. The escalation follows heightened regional tensions, including deadly clashes in Lebanon and missile attacks from Yemen. Tensions flared on the Israel-Lebanon border as Israeli airstrikes hit southern Lebanon on Saturday, killing at least 8 people. The strikes came after Israel intercepted rockets fired from across the border, raising fears of renewed conflict despite a fragile ceasefire. Here's more.
Israeli forces launched air and artillery strikes on southern Lebanon, responding to a cross-border rocket attack on Saturday. Hezbollah, however, denied responsibility for the attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered a second wave of strikes targeting Hezbollah positions. The Israeli Defense Ministry described it as the biggest escalation since the November 27 ceasefire. According to Israel's military, 6 rockets were fired into northern Israel, 3 of which were intercepted. Air raid sirens were triggered, but Hezbollah dismissed Israel's accusation as a pretext for further aggression. The Lebanese Prime Minister warned that the latest military action could push the region into another war, heightening concerns of a broader conflict. The United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon expressed alarm over the rising violence, while international powers urged restraint. France, which played a key role in brokering the ceasefire, condemned the rocket fire and called for de-escalation. Jordan also urged urgent international intervention to stop Israeli strikes. Under the November ceasefire deal, Hezbollah was to have no weapons in southern Lebanon. Israeli ground troops were also to withdraw and Lebanese army troops were to deploy into the area. The agreement specifies that Lebanon's government is responsible for dismantling all military infrastructure in southern Lebanon and confiscating all unauthorized arms. With tensions rapidly rising in the region, fears of another prolonged conflict are growing. Whether diplomacy can prevent a full-scale war remains uncertain. Bureau Report, DD India.
An Israeli airstrike in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis killed Hamas political leader Salah al-Bardawil, as per reports. Hamas has accused Israel of assassinating Bardawil, whom it said was praying along with his wife when an Israeli missile struck their tent shelter in Khan Yunis. Israel has been accused in a statement issued by Hamas. Explosions echoed throughout the north, central and southern Gaza Strip in the early hours of Sunday after Israel effectively abandoned a ceasefire, launching a new all-out air and ground campaign on Tuesday against Gaza's dominant Palestinian militant group Hamas. Thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv on Saturday against the decision by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to dismiss the head of the Shin Bet domestic intelligence service and resume fighting in Gaza. Netanyahu said this week he had lost confidence in Ronen Bar, who has led Shin Bet since 2021, and intended to fire him effective April 10, prompting 3 days of protests. Israel's Supreme Court issued an injunction on Friday, temporarily freezing the dismissal. Netanyahu has dismissed accusations the decision was politically motivated. Ahead of the much-anticipated talks between Russia and Ukraine with U.S. officials in Saudi Arabia, Washington, D.C. is optimistic of brokering a 30-day ceasefire between the two sides. Here's more.
The United States is hopeful about securing a 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, with the country's special envoy Steve Witkoff saying that Trump administration can broker the deal. He made these remarks in a recent interview with talk show host Tucker Carlson.
So we're going to want the Russians to be satisfied in some respect. We're going to want the Ukrainians to be satisfied in some respect. We're talking to the Europeans. When I say satisfied, feeling that we came out of this thing, okay, with a deal that everybody can live with. I think that we have moved Russia in ways that no one thought was possible.
The Kremlin said this week that President Putin had agreed to a 30-day ceasefire on energy targets in a call with Trump. However, the accord fell short of the broader 30-day ceasefire sought by Washington and accepted by Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a meeting with military cabinet in Kharkiv to discuss the ongoing situation at the front lines in eastern Ukraine and the Kursk region in western Russia. Ukrainian troops have been present in the Kursk region for 7 months following a cross-border incursion. On the diplomatic front, Ukrainian officials are set to meet with US officials in Saudi Arabia ahead of a separate meeting between American and Russian officials on Monday. Despite the flurry of diplomacy and push from US President Donald Trump, a breakthrough has so far proved elusive, as both sides have traded accusations in recent days of compromising peace efforts as air attacks have continued. Bureau Report, DD India.
In the battleground, both Russia and Ukraine launched renewed drone strikes on Sunday, with at least 3 deaths and several injuries reported in Russian drone attack on Kyiv. The Kyiv City Military Administration claimed that multiple districts of the city were targeted, with buildings and vehicles set ablaze. President Zelensky has urged allies to put new pressure on Russia to bring an end to the attacks. Meanwhile, Russia claimed that it destroyed 59 Ukrainian drones targeting southwestern regions and resulting in 1 death in Rostov. The person was inside a car that caught fire following the drone attack. All right, indeed, India's Amrit Pal Singh is joining us live on this story. Hi, Amrit. So many months, in fact, years into this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and United States now is quite hopeful when it comes to peace talks. They perhaps will be holding the talks from the Ukrainian side today in Saudi Arabia and tomorrow with Russia. How do you analyze this particular scenario which is there in front of us?
Well, after President Trump made calls to both President Zelensky and first to President Putin and later to President Zelensky the next day, this Monday and Tuesday, essentially he was able to put his political weight behind the talks and get both sides to agree to talking about, a temporary ceasefire, a 30-day ceasefire, which both sides, according to sources, have agreed at least for a temporary ceasefire. Of course, concerns remain. Both sides have their, demands. For example, Ukraine wants attacks on all energy infrastructures to completely stop. Russia's got concerns about the Black Sea's security, what happens to the areas that both control in each other's territory. For example, Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhia, which is controlled by Russia. On the other hand, the Ukrainian forces are in Kursk. Whether those areas go to each other, who controls the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. So these are issues that need to be thrashed out during before a certain ceasefire can be brought about. So the Ukrainians are sending their technical team. The Russians are also sending the team for these indirect talks, US mediated talks. These talks are not Ukraine and Russia are not going to sit on the table, but they're going to sit with US officials and see how forward movement can be made. So
Amrit, also I want to ask you that when it comes to 30-day ceasefire, perhaps Ukraine is agreeing to it, but Russia is saying that they have some conditions and only after that they'll think about implementing when it comes to the 30-day ceasefire. However, they in the current scenario are not attacking the energy infrastructure of Ukraine. So what can we understand with that?
No, the Russians have conditions, you're right. So do the Ukrainians. But I think, that's a negotiating position that they're taking. That's a maximalist position that they're taking that, unless these are met. But as Witkoff said in his podcast with Carlson, he made it very clear that, both sides are amenable to talking to the United States about the ceasefire. So I think those wrinkles have been ironed out. Of course, as I said, issues remain. Clearly, they remain. But as he said, as Witkoff said, that some give and take has to happen from both sides, and what the US is trying to do is thrash a deal where both sides are able to agree on some things in the immediate future to get a ceasefire, a temporary ceasefire, a 30-day ceasefire before talks go on for a long-term negotiation. You're right; they're not attacking in energy infrastructure, but they are attacking each other. Kiev was attacked. The Russians say they've neutralized Ukrainian drones. So do the Ukrainians say, they've neutralized over 147 drones of Russia, etc., and missiles. So I think what's happening really is that before they sit down to the table, they are trying to make as much gain as possible on the battlefield, so that that can be leveraged on the negotiating table.
Amrit, also when it comes to getting a peaceful solution of this particular conflict, and the talks are happening in Saudi Arabia, as we all know, can we expect something positive? Because there have been so many times these things come up, but then there is no solution, there is zero result, and both the countries keep attacking each other. But can we expect something positive this time around?
There'll be a forward movement. There'll be a forward movement. There are technical teams being sent. Russia's sending 2 of its key negotiators. President Zelensky said that he's sending a technical team. I think there'll be forward movement this time around. Attacks, will they stop on the battleground? No. Before ceasefire is achieved, because the strategy in any negotiation, the strategy is to make as much military gain as possible before you negotiate that on the table. So that's
also, Amrit, Russia has categorically said to US to stop sharing intelligence with Ukraine. So what is happening here? How do you analyze this?
The Americans are sharing intelligence with the Ukrainians. They had paused that to bring them, to the table. But after the Ukrainians agreed to that, it looks like the US is in a mood to share intelligence with them, at least at the moment. So
and also finally, Amrit, we all know what happened in the White House fiasco between Donald Trump and Zelensky. What is the fate of rare earth minerals deals in such a scenario?
A rare earth minerals deal is a small deal. That's true. The only question is how will it be affected? Because, the areas where the rare earth minerals exist or have to be extracted from, some of those areas are in Russian control. Now, how the Americans negotiate with the Russians remains to be seen. But in principle, Zelensky's agreed to the rare earth minerals deal with the United States.
Correct. All right. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful analysis again, Amrit. And we'll keep taking updates from you as and when they will come. Thank you so much. And still to come on DD India Newshour. South Korea has declared a state of disaster after multiple forest fires hit the country's south. 12th edition of the India-Kyrgyzstan Joint Special Forces exercise concludes.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. A court formally arrested Ekrem Imamoglu, a key rival to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, early on Sunday and ordered him jailed pending the outcome of a trial on corruption charges. The country's worst unrest in over a decade has spread to over 55 provinces, with clashes between riot police and protesters escalating into violence. The opposition CHP party has vowed to continue the protests, backed by the pro-Kurdish DEM party, as tensions reach a boiling point. More in this report by Antara Sinha.
Turkey is witnessing its worst protests in over a decade, with aggressive demonstrations erupting across the country in response to the arrest of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu. The protests, which began on Wednesday, have spread to over 55 provinces, with clashes reported between riot police and protesters. Imamoglu's arrest on charges of terrorism and corruption has sparked widespread outrage, with many viewing it as a politically motivated move to prevent him from running in the 2028 presidential election. The protests have been marked by violence, with riot police using tear gas, rubber bullets, and percussion grenades to disperse the crowds. Meanwhile, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan on Saturday said that the main opposition was engaging in street terrorism.
The Republican People's Party, CHP, attempted to provoke our nation over this corruption operation. They have been doing everything they can for 4 days to disturb the peace of the nation and polarize our people. From insulting anyone they encounter to attacking our police officers who are only doing their jobs. From intimidating our members of the judiciary who are investigating corruption reports to suppressing the national will with street terrorism, they have it all.
The demonstrations were called by the main opposition CHP, which was on Sunday to formally name Imamoglu as its candidate for the 2028 presidential race. The opposition CHP party has vowed to continue the protests. The pro-Kurdish opposition DEM, the third party in parliament, has also thrown its support behind the protests.
We are here to improve who we are, our future, our life from now on. We can neither survive as a university student nor as a laborer. We are trying to make a living with the 3 pennies we get, as if it's not enough. We are trying to support our family. Actually, we are here for democracy.
Whatever the people want should happen. I think he should go. If everyone is here, there must be a reason. For example, presidents in foreign countries resign when they face the reaction of the people. Here, they do not.
The protests are the biggest in Turkey since the massive demonstrations of 2013, which began at Istanbul's Gezi Park to protest its demolition and spread across almost the entire country. Antara Sinha for DD India.
And DD India's Tanvi Taneja joins us live from New Delhi. Hi Tanvi. What details can you share about a court ruling given to Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu?
Yes, Siddharth, so a Turkish court has maintained Ekrem İmamoğlu, Istanbul's mayor's detention on graft charges, but has said that his arrest on terrorism probe is not necessary at the moment. If I could read out this ruling for you, it says, although there is strong suspicion of aiding an armed terrorist organization, since it has already been decided that he will be arrested for financial crimes, his arrest in the terrorist probe, that is not deemed necessary at this stage. So besides the corruption charges, İmamoğlu is also being detained and questioned for his alleged involvement in aiding the now outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party. Now these are charges which, of course, İmamoğlu has been denying. Apart from that, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president, has accused him of inciting unrest in the country, of street terrorism. Again, this has all been denied by İmamoğlu. Now, after the ruling given to İmamoğlu, he has written on his X handle that he will not bow down to this, what he has said, black stain on democracy. He has urged his 86 million citizens to run to the ballot boxes and, show faith in democracy. And of course, the lawyers, İmamoğlu's lawyers in News Trickling In have said that they will appeal against this court ruling on Sunday itself. So this is a story still playing out.
All right. And Tanvi, in view of widespread protests and that Istanbul mayor is projected as the main opposition candidate to President Erdogan, what are the political implications of Ekrem İmamoğlu arrest?
Yes, so Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu was arrested in a midnight raid on Wednesday, and following his arrest, there were days of protests which have now spread nationwide, not just to the big cities like Istanbul or capital Ankara, but they have really spread to across Turkey in 81 provinces of the country. So what was supposed to happen on Sunday, today, that Ekrem İmamoğlu was to be nominated officially as the main leader of the main opposition party, that is the Republican People's Party. So at this party meeting, over 1 million party workers were supposed to nominate him. For that would have given him legitimacy as the main political contender for Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It would have, as some say, would have also given him some sort of unwritten immunity against political persecution. But of course, that has not happened. So critics say that this is undemocratic. His supporters are saying that this is oppression. And of course, he is an important leader in the future leadership of Turkey. Elections in Turkey are slated for 2028, so there are still 3 years to the election, but the exact political repercussions of this arrest of İmamoğlu are still to play out from here.
All right, that was a wonderful analysis, Tanvi, and we'll keep taking updates from you as and when they will come. Thank you so much. We'll leave it there. US President Donald Trump threatened new actions against lawyers and law firms that bring immigration lawsuits and other cases against the government that he deems unethical. In a memorandum to US Attorney General Pam Bondi late on Friday, Trump said lawyers were helping to fuel rampant fraud and meritless claims in the immigration system and directed the Justice Department to seek sanctions against attorneys for professional misconduct. The order also took aim at law firms that sue the administration in what Trump, a Republican, called baseless partisan lawsuits. He asked Bondi to refer such firms to the White House to be stripped of security clearances and for federal contracts they worked on to be terminated. While the Trump administration has been hit with more than 100 lawsuits challenging White House actions on immigration, transgender rights and other issues since the start of the president's second term. Legal advocacy groups, along with at least 12 major law firms, have brought many of the cases. Amid a diplomatic spat between the United States and Venezuela over the recent deportation flights of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador, Venezuela has reached an agreement with the United States to resume repatriation flights of migrants. President Nicolas Maduro announced in a televised address on Saturday. Maduro said the flights would commence on Sunday. The United States said the deportees sent to El Salvador were members of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua gang, a claim that Venezuela's interior minister denied. The Trump administration now faces a March 25th deadline to respond to a judicial request for more details on the deportations to El Salvador, as Washington-based U.S. District Judge James Boasberg considers whether officials violated his order temporarily blocking the expulsions. Tens of thousands of people in Paris and other French cities rallied against racism and the rise of far right. The rallies took place amid the rightward shift in French politics, with the government pledging to tighten immigration policies and border controls. Nearly 91,000 people took part in protests across France, said the Interior Ministry, with the Paris rally attracting 21,500. Many of those marching highlighted the growing strength of reactionary political forces in France, but also in the United States. The 12th edition of the India-Kyrgyzstan Joint Special Forces Exercise Khanjar 12 successfully concluded on March 23, 2025 in Tokmok, Kyrgyzstan. Elite forces from India's Parachute Regiment and the Kyrgyz Scorpion Brigade undertook intensive training to boost interoperability, high-altitude warfare capabilities and counter-terrorism tactics. The exercise featured advanced operations including sniping, building intervention, mountain craft and specialized counter-terrorism drills. The celebration of Nowruz added a cultural dimension, fostering camaraderie and mutual understanding. The Kyrgyz Ministry of Defense honored Indian personnel with medals and certificates for their exemplary performance. South Korea has declared a state of disaster after multiple forest fires hit the country's south, killing at least 4 and displacing hundreds of residents from their homes. Firefighters were scrambling to put out the fires that started in the southern county of Sancheong on Friday. Helicopters released water over a deadly wildfire in southeast of South Korea. The Korea Forest Service said the Sancheong fire had been 25% contained as of Saturday night. More than 300 personnel, along with 20 helicopters, have been deployed to tackle the fire, which began in Sancheong County on Friday afternoon. Floods continue to wreak havoc across Madrid on Saturday after Storm Martinez's heavy rains caused rivers to overflow, leaving fields submerged. The impact of the storm has been felt beyond Madrid as various regions across Spain face similar severe weather conditions. Storm Martinez first hit Spain on Thursday, and authorities have warned residents to stay away from areas where levels of water are getting closer to the streets. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Residents in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, say that they continue to live in fear of organized crime even as armored vehicles patrol the streets. Haiti's violent gangs have significantly expanded their operations amid a security crisis. Scientists have discovered new marine species off the coast of New Zealand. Almost 3,000 samples were collected from the country's southern ocean. The scientists observed how animals survive in extreme conditions. Omar Menchaca, a 63-year-old environmentalist, kayaks through Mexico City's Xochimilco wetlands, removing piles of plastic waste to protect the vital ecosystem. The UNESCO site faces threats from pollution, urbanization and a controversial overpass. Known for cooling the city and preventing floods, Xochimilco is also crucial to water supply. Menchaca urges stronger action to save this ecological treasure before it's lost forever. The Absa Cape Epic, an iconic demanding mountain bike stage race in South Africa's Western Cape, saw intense competition on its penultimate stage. Nino Schurter and Filippo Combo held their overall lead in the men's race. Similarly, Annika Langvad and Sofia Gomez Villafain maintained their women's lead. The event, known for its tough terrain, tests riders' endurance over several days. The leaders now face the final stage with the overall victory within reach. Environmentalists gathered at the Brazilian city of Manaus on World Water Day, highlighting the Amazon's urgent socio-environmental crisis. Themed Our Voices at COP30 in defense of water and life in the Amazon. The event emphasized water's importance as a human right. Activists, including Father Sandoval, called for an immediate action to address the region's unprecedented degradation. And still to come on DD India Newshour. India has requested the extradition of fugitive businessman Mehul Choksi from Belgium. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar witnessed the handing over of Mahatma Gandhi related artifacts and documents from South Africa to National Gandhi Museum, New Delhi.
इंडिया में जितने इंडियंस हैं उतने ही इंडियाज भी. So for the record, this is my India.
This is my Undekha. Unsuna.
Unbelievable India.
This is my favorite designer wear wala India.
My Sakhat Energy Hero India.
এই হলো আমার দুর্দান্ত রোড ট্রিপের ইন্ডিয়া.
So India, join the Waves Explorer Challenge.
Show us what makes you say, for the record.
This is my India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj and a quick recap of the headlines. Israel army tells Gazans to evacuate part of southern city of Rafah, launches ground operations. Istanbul court rules against formally arresting opposition mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu in a terror probe while maintaining his detention over a graft investigation. Ukrainian and Russian officials set to hold talks with US officials amid renewed drone attacks from both sides, causing casualties. Indian Army successfully facilitated the return of mortal remains of two youth who were reported missing earlier in March from Uri in Jammu and Kashmir. On March 20th, Indian Army spotted the body of the deceased in the Jhelum River, but due to strong water currents, the body drifted across the line of control towards Chakoti sector of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian Army officials coordinated efforts to retrieve mortal remains. Following the handover, the remains were returned to their respective families for the final rites. Bereaved families expressed deep gratitude to the Indian Army for their swift response and dedicated efforts in ensuring the dignified return of the mortal remains of their loved ones from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And India has doubled its gross domestic product in the last 10 years at a growth of 105% from $2.1 trillion in 2015 to $4.3 trillion in 2025. According to the data released by the International Monetary Fund, India is now the fifth largest country in terms of GDP in the world after the US, China, Germany and Japan. It added that India is set to outpace Japan soon as the latter's GDP grew nil in the past decade. In comparison, the United States and China's GDP grew by 66% and 44% respectively during the same period. India has requested the extradition of the fugitive businessman Mehul Choksi from Belgium. He was accused of defrauding Punjab National Bank of rupees 13,850 crore. Indian investigative agencies have been pursuing him since he fled India in January 2018 after PNB fraud surfaced. In May 2024, Choksi told a special Mumbai court that he was unable to return to India due to reasons beyond his control. This statement came after the Enforcement Directorate sought to declare him a fugitive economic offender and seize his properties. Choksi was previously believed to be residing in Antigua and Barbuda. His wife Preeti is also known to be a Belgian citizen. Keeping in view India's vision of becoming self-reliant or Atmanirbhar, the production-linked incentive schemes for 14 key sectors are under implementation to enhance India's manufacturing capabilities and exports. The impact of PLI schemes has been significant across various sectors in India. These schemes have incentivized domestic manufacturing, leading to increased production, job creation, and a boost to exports. They have also attracted significant investments from both domestic and foreign players. As on date, 764 applications have been approved under PLI schemes for 14 key sectors. 176 MSMEs are among the PLI beneficiaries in sectors such as bulk drugs, medical devices, pharma, telecom, white goods, food processing, textiles and drones. Actual investment of around $19 billion has been reported till November 2024, which has generated production sales of around $163 billion against targets of 15.52 lakh crores up to FY 2024-25 and employment of over 11.5 lakhs. External Affairs Minister S. Shankar witnessed the handing over of Mahatma Gandhi-related artifacts and documents from South Africa to the National Gandhi Museum, New Delhi. India's External Affairs Minister wrote on social media platform X that Bapu's life and message continue to inspire generations to come. The National Gandhi Museum in New Delhi contains huge picture galleries depicting Gandhi's life, work and ideals in photographs, artworks, paintings and his relics. Bihar Divas 2025, celebrating the state's rich culture and heritage, was celebrated in New York at the Consulate General of India, bringing together distinguished members of the Indian American community to honor Bihar's remarkable progress and growing global presence. Here's more.
Bihar Divas 2025 was celebrated at the Consulate General of India in New York in collaboration with Bihar Foundation USA and the Bihar Jharkhand Association of North America. The event brought together over 135 distinguished members of the Indian American community to honor Bihar's rich heritage, remarkable progress and growing global presence. Consul General Binaya Pradhan reflected on Bihar's immense contributions to education, culture and history, mentioning icons such as Nalanda University, Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Aryabhat. Bihar Foundation USA East Coast and BJANA jointly presented a thank you award to Consul General Binaya Pradhan for his encouragement to the diaspora.
We as Consulate General of India, we feel very happy that we celebrate such important days along with Indian community. And as you know, Indian diaspora is doing tremendously well in this country, and they have been very well connected with India, not only culturally, but in terms of doing philanthropic activities back home, promoting investment, promoting economic linkages between India and the United States.
A video tribute was also presented in memory of the late Padma Vibhushan Sharda Sinha, one of Bihar's most celebrated cultural icon, honouring her unmatched musical legacy. Meghna Dev reporting for DD India.
Today, we observe Shaheed Divas, honouring the sacrifices of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. On March 23, 1931, these brave revolutionaries laid down their lives for India's freedom. Their legacy of courage and commitment continues to inspire generations. Here's a special report from Sujata Lochab. Take a look.
On 23rd March 1931, three patriots and freedom fighters, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev, were hanged to death. They were given the death sentence in the Lahore conspiracy case. The day is now remembered as Shaheed Divas or Martyrs' Day. The British Governor-General promulgated an ordinance to establish a special tribunal to try the Lahore conspiracy case while denying the accused the right to appeal. The British imperialists branded them as criminals, but in the hearts of millions, they were heroes. History is testament to the fact that the three young men showed neither remorse nor fear while they were being taken to the gallows at Lahore Central Jail, but happily embraced death, shouting, "Inqilab Zindabad." Inqilab Zindabad! In fact, the song, Mera Rang De Basanti Chola, gave birth to one of the greatest freedom songs. It became Bhagat Singh's song of the gallows. He was said to have marched to the hangman's chamber with this song on his lips. Today, Indians across the country honor them with a deep sense of gratitude. Their story of courage has inspired many movies which have relived the spirit of supreme sacrifice. Bhagat Singh was just 23 years old when he was hanged. His legend continues to inspire generations of Indians even today. For him, death in the cause of freedom was like a celebration that has continued even after 94 years. Sujata Lochab for DD India.
Let's take a look at other stories making news. Security forces have launched a joint operation in Sangla in Surankot in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. This is in the wake of suspicious movement seen in the region. The operation was launched by the Indian Army's Romeo forces along with Poonch police. Construction of India's first vertical lift sea bridge called Pamban Railway Bridge has been completed. Located in Tamil Nadu, the bridge connects Rameshwaram Island with the mainland. It is expected to be operational by April this year. The western Indian state of Rajasthan has joined the small list of places which have been successful in captive breeding of ostrich. Native to Africa, the bird is difficult to breed in captivity where habitat conditions are bound to vary. Pope Francis on Sunday made his first public appearance in more than 5 weeks, waving from a balcony at a hospital in Rome before his discharge from the facility. And this is a report. Have a look.
Catholics across the world are rejoicing. Their prayers have finally been answered. Pope Francis will be discharged from a Rome hospital after 5 weeks on Sunday. The 88-year-old was battling a severe case of double pneumonia. He is now set to offer a blessing from his window at the hospital, marking his first public appearance since being hospitalized.
It's a wonderful feeling because he is truly a good person. He is doing so much through the example he sets.
We're happy, and it's not just me, but the whole Philippines, especially the Filipino Catholics, with the Pope's recovery.
This was the pontiff's most serious health crisis during his 12-year term. His doctors remain cautious, saying that he will need a further 2 months of rest at the Vatican.
During the hospitalization, the Holy Father's clinical condition went through 2 very critical episodes in which the Holy Father's life was in danger. The administration of high-flow oxygen and non-invasive mechanical ventilation led to a slow but steady improvement, helping him recover from the most critical episodes. He always remained alert, oriented and present.
According to a senior cardinal, the Pope will need to relearn how to speak after battling the infection for so long. This may impact his official duties. The Pope had been set to meet UK's King Charles on April 8th and to lead the Vatican's annual celebrations for Easter on April 20th. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India Newshour. DD News organizes a walkathon to promote Fit India initiative and champion inclusivity. And Ramadan festivities take over Dubai.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj and time now for sport updates. On Sunday, March 23rd, DD News organized a walkathon to promote the Fit India initiative and champion inclusivity. Co-sponsored by The Idea and Swayam, the event covered a 4-kilometer route starting and ending at DD Bhavan, emphasizing accessibility for specially abled persons. Participants were recognized with awards in various categories and all finishers received tokens of appreciation. The walkathon reinforced the message that fitness is for everyone and highlighted the importance of creating inclusive spaces for all. Meanwhile, DD News Director General Priya Kumar emphasized the importance of fitness for everyone, highlighting the principle of inclusion with the active participation of Divyangs.
डीडी न्यूज़ ने एक वॉकथॉन ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री का जो फिट इंडिया का आह्वान है उसको देखते हुए हमने सबने ये डिसाइड किया कि हम भी इसका एक हिस्सा बनेंगे। हमारे 300 करीब प्रतिभागी थे और मैं सबका बहुत धन्यवाद करूंगी। सबने बहुत इससे जोर शोर से इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है और हम लोग आगे भी ऐसे करते रहेंगे और सबको हम यही कहना चाहेंगे, हमारा यही एक मैसेज है कि सबको अपनी फिटनेस पे ध्यान देना चाहिए और सबको इसका हिस्सा बनना चाहिए। डीडी न्यूज़ के इस वॉकथॉन में हमने ये भी ध्यान रखा कि हम लोग एक इंक्लूसिविटी, जो इंक्लूजन वाला एक प्रिंसिपल है, उसको भी हम साथ लेके चले। हमारे साथ कम से कम 15 लोग ऐसे थे जो दिव्यांग हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत ही हिम्मत से और बहुत ही जोश से इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है, तो इसके लिए हम उनका भी धन्यवाद करते हैं।
Another weekend and another Fit India Sundays on Cycle event was organized under the Fit India movement at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium this morning. People from all corners of Delhi participated in the event to promote fitness. Paris Paralympics badminton gold medalist Nitesh Kumar and bronze medalist Manisha Ramadas were also present at the event. Many people, including doctors, nutritionists, students and social activists, participated to make the people aware of the ills of obesity.
भारी मात्रा में लोग आए हैं और they are enjoying cycling on Sunday. I'm happy to see कि people are taking the first step towards their fitness journey.
Phil Salt's extraordinary assault and Virat Kohli's star power helped Royal Challengers Bengaluru outshine defending champion Kolkata Knight Riders by 7 wickets in the Indian Premier League 18 season opener at the Eden Gardens on Saturday. Chasing 174, Kohli and Salt unleashed firepower to plunder 80 runs in the power play on a batting-friendly track and make the chase a cakewalk. Earlier, Quinton de Kock was caught behind off Josh Hazlewood before making an impact in KKR colours. Krunal Pandey also starred with the ball, taking 3 wickets. For KKR, captain Ajinkya Rahane's half-century was the only positive. Also immense excitement among the cricket fans for the later match in the evening as arch-rivals Chennai Super Kings and Mumbai Indians will face each other tonight. CSK and Mumbai Indians are the two most successful teams in the IPL with a combined 10 titles. All-rounder Shardul Thakur has signed with Lucknow Super Giants as a substitute for Mohsin Khan, who has been ruled out of the 18th season of the Indian Premier League. Thakur will be part of the LSG team in Visakhapatnam, where the Rishabh Pant captained team begins its campaign with an away game against Delhi Capitals on Monday. Mohsin suffered an ACL tear in his right knee while competing in the Vijay Hazare Trophy in December last year. Shardul has played for 5 franchises in IPL. He has taken 67 wickets in 95 matches and has a batting strike rate of 139, making him a very useful all-rounder. In tennis, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka and men's top seed Alexander Zverev advanced to the third round of Miami Open. Sabalenka wrapped up the first set 6-1 before Romanian Ruse was forced to retire with a right thigh injury. Three-time Grand Slam champion Sabalenka will now face American defending champion Daniel Collins in round of 16 on Monday. On the other hand, Zverev secured a straight set win to advance to the next round, where he will face Australia's Jordan Thompson. Armand Duplantis won the men's pole vault at the World Indoor Athletics Championships 2025, and the Swedish star, also known as Mondo, successfully defended his title with a jump of 6.15 meters and wins the tournament for the third time. This was Mondo's 7th global title, but was made to work all the way by Carolis, who took silver with a new personal best of 6.05 meter. American Sam Kendricks rounded out the podium with best of 5.9 meters. The 25-year-old also cleared the 6-meter barrier for the 100th time and became the first athlete to do so. Dubai's Ramadan festivities have transformed the city into a celebration that harmoniously combines cultural heritage with contemporary flair, creating an atmosphere of unity and joy during this sacred month. Places like Zabil Park and Souk al-Bahar are featuring vibrant Ramadan decorations, attracting visitors with live shows, games and Hakawati storytelling. Over 55 restaurants offer diverse culinary experiences with live music and cultural performances. A local resident praised the holy festivities of Ramadan, sharing the experiences and emphasizing the significance of the festival.
First of all, I want just to welcome all my friends from India, and I want to give them a brief of how Ramadan is important for us as UAE locals and as Muslims. Ramadan actually is a month of peace, month of gathering, happiness, month of clean our soul, you know. We are enjoying with each other, enjoying with our family, coming like on this kind of places to enjoy and meet our friends and family.
That's all for this edition of DD India Newshour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can even scan the QR code. Which is on your screens right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shaheed Divas from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Newshour.